I think there was a distinct difference between the first 60 minutes and the last 30 minutes, and not necessarily to do with changes from a tactical perspective or personnel, but just certainly some of the characteristics that we showed as a team that meant that in the last half an hour we were the dominant team. We had a really good number of chances and a lot of territory. And I think the root of that was some real calmness and precision around the box that we really lacked in the first half. The first half felt like we were very rushed, desperate to score off every attack that we had, and took chances that were less than half chances, and that meant that we ended up surrendering the ball really easy around the top of the box, as opposed to building some momentum when we weren't able to attack quickly. So there were definitely two distinct sides of that. I felt we took more risks than we would do typically when it comes to how high up we try and win the ball, the extent to which we went to press man for man, and sometimes it worked well for us. Sometimes we were able to turn the ball over in very good areas and prevent them from progressing. But there were a number of occasions where we were repeatedly late. We lacked the physicality to cover the distances that we really needed to at that point, and we lost a lot of duels, which was really disappointing because that's not a characteristic of this team. So that's partly to do with the distances that we were covering, and the lateness, I suppose, in terms of how we pressed and the triggers that we chose to go after, and then mentality. So that unfortunately is something that we're carrying into next week that we haven't typically carried into many games. So what we have to do now is make sure that really counts for something tonight, and there's a sour taste left in our mouth that will ultimately put us in a better place for the playoffs, which is the most important thing. So I think there's some good that goes with that bad in a lot of sense, and I've said that to the players. I think a very comfortable performance against a team that was already on the beach wouldn't have suited us tonight, and I'm really glad that we played a team that is far better than their position suggests. And as you guys well know, if you look at their form in the second half of the season, they're a team that is sixth, seventh, eighth, and certainly on their day at home with the wingers and a couple of other players that they've got, they're a really tough team to play against. So in a lot of ways, I'm thankful for that, and that was a level of game that we needed to prepare for next week.
Does it feel like the team is going sort of the wrong direction at a critical time here?
No, I mean, you guys know the circumstances that we're working within at the moment. We look very different as a team from the perspective of what we have available at the top of the pitch, and you'd be hard pushed, I think, to find a team that would deal with losing its two number nines at a crucial point of the season, and comfortably waltz through the rest of the season. We're a team, unfortunately, at this point in the season that is in transition to an extent, and we've got to make sure that we find some solutions to the problems that we've got. I thought we did really well against Kansas last week, and tonight we had more difficulties, but I think that's to be expected. And in spite of that, I thought we made a really good go of the game in the second half today. I was really pleased with the response, and that certainly gives us a feeling of momentum moving into next week. So I think there's for sure elements of the game that we really need to push, work on, find solutions to without the profile of player at the top of the pitch that we've had for the large majority of the season. But we are a group of people that are able to do that, and really relish the challenge in that sense. So the next week will be a really constructive one, and we'll continue to try and find a way of putting ourselves in the best position to be really competitive.
You'll have plenty of time to dive into it, but what's kind of your impression of Seattle right now?
Yeah, without obviously having seen any of their game tonight, I think they're a team that's they're in mixed form. They have players of real quality returning at the right time, which I think is a really crucial thing for them. But we've had two very good games against them this year. We've beaten them twice, but in both of those games, the games have been very even, and they're a really good team. They're a team that win consistently for a reason. They got players that come into form at the right points. They're teams that can handle bad. They're a team that can handle poor periods of form and bounce back well. And if you look across their squad, they've got real depth and real quality, and that will for sure be a really tough matchup. But we take a lot of confidence into that game based upon what we've done over the course of 34 games and the two games against them.
How important is it going to be for your team to get Kelvin Yeboah going again?
Yeah, of course, I would love Kelvin to be in great shape and to be coming into this on the back of a flurry of goals and real rhythm. But unfortunately, that's not the case, and it's coincided with us losing Tanny, and obviously gives the team a very different look. And the nature of Kelvin's injury and the nature of his profile as a player and explosive forward means that it's not. It's not an injury that you can really force the recovery from. It takes what it takes, and you have to build gradually, and you have to make sure that they take the appropriate steps to playing a certain number of minutes, because it can be really counterproductive to not follow that protocol. So he obviously took his first steps tonight. He had a couple of good moments, couple of moments where you got a real sense that he is lacking that match sharpness. And again, it's just something that we have to overcome at this stage of the season. And we've had a really good record this year from an injury perspective, and unfortunately we picked up a couple at just the wrong time of the year. But that's not something at this point in the season to feel sorry for yourselves over. It's all at this point about solutions, being constructive, being positive, and making sure that we as a group of staff place the players in the best position possible for the games, and the players have a really good go.
What do you put your finger on to the defensive issues, and did it have anything to do with the setup that you've had? I know that you didn't have any goals against Kansas City, but a couple tonight with the four-man backline.
Yeah, I mean, we have that luxury given what we've done over the course of the first 30 games, to be in a position for the last four where we pretty much know our fate in terms of having controlled home advantage for the first round of the playoffs, which was something that at the beginning of the season for sure we'd have snapped someone's hand off for. So we were really pleased with having gotten to that position. And I think with some of the struggles that we've had personnel wise, the last two games has given us a real chance to look at something different. And I think largely that's been positive. I think it's been refreshing from a coaching perspective. It's been good to give, and I'm sure from the players' perspective, receive some different messages. And I'm hoping that the versatility that we've shown signs of building over the course of the last couple of games will stand us in good stead over the course of the playoffs. I think a team where we are in the food chain, in the pecking order, has to show adaptability and flexibility, and be able to solve problems when you don't have the depth that some of the top teams do. So I think the way in which we've operated over the course of the last two games feeds that, and it's asked some questions of players that probably haven't been asked over the course of the season. And I think the two games will give us some serious food for thought when it comes to how we look in that opening playoff game. So I've enjoyed the last two games, and I enjoyed tonight. I enjoyed the players' reaction. I enjoyed the fact that we were able to overcome some difficult circumstances and finish really well. And I'll enjoy watching that game back and making sure that we take the best of it.
You sort of touched on injuries a little bit. What's the prognosis for Morris Duggan?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, it's not one of those that I think without a scan, without getting our eyes on some images, we're going to be able to deal with any certainty. So we'll reserve judgment on that one, and hope for the best. A really important player for us, someone that has come on leaps and bounds over the course of this year, shown incredible progression and a real ability to carry out some difficult roles in difficult moments for us. So I'm very hopeful for the best, and for sure, if that isn't the case, it'll be a big loss for us.
It works for me.
Yep, me too.
Top. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, thank you guys.
Speak soon.
Safe
Bye.
travel.